The door slammed shut with a sound like thunder. The lock clicked, a final, cruel sound in the cold night rain.
Lock,
Anna stood on the
please!
porch, her nightgown already sticking to her skin. She was shivering, but not from the cold. She pressed her hands against her swollen belly, where her baby, just 7 months grown, kicked softly as if feeling her fear. "Mark, please!" she cried, pounding on the heavy wooden door. "It's raining. I have nowhere to go." From inside, her husband's voice was hard and cold, like a stone. "You should have thought of that before you stole from me. You and your useless baby are not my problem anymore." Tears mixed with the rain on Anna's face. She hadn't stolen anything. It was all a lie. But Mark had chosen to believe his sister's story over hers. He had called her a liar, a thief, and now he had thrown her out of the house they built together. A flash of lightning lit up the sky. For a second, Anna saw the beautiful garden she had planted, now being beaten down by the storm. It was just like her life. She turned and looked at the dark, empty road leading away from the house. She had no family, no money in her pocket, and no friends nearby. She was completely alone. But she was wrong. Someone was watching. From a sleek black car parked far down the street, a pair of eyes watched the heartbreaking scene. The person's face was hidden in shadow, but a small, satisfied smile touched their lips as Mark's silhouette appeared in the living room window, holding a drink as if he had not a care in the world. The watcher had been waiting for this moment. They had helped set the stage for Mark's cruelty. And now, karma was ready to begin its work. To understand this terrible night, we must go back to the beginning, when Mark and Anna were happy. 5 years ago, Mark Lawson was a charming man with a big smile. Anna was a kind artist who painted beautiful pictures. They met at a cafe, fell in love, and got married. For a while, life was a dream. Mark started a business selling furniture. Anna sold her paintings to help. They bought a piece of land and built a lovely white house. But slowly, Mark began to change. His business became the only thing he cared about. He wanted to be rich and important. He started to see Anna's kindness as weakness. He wanted a wife who wore fancy clothes and talked to important people, not one who spent her days painting and planting flowers. When Anna told him she was pregnant, Mark was not happy. "A baby costs money," he grumbled. "It will be noisy and messy." Anna's heart sank, but she hoped the baby would soften him, bringing back the old Mark she loved. Around this time, Mark's sister, Diana, moved back to town. Diana was jealous of Anna. She wanted to be the only important woman in Mark's life. She also wanted Mark's money. She saw the baby as a threat. If Mark had a child, he might leave his money to his family, not to her. So Diana made a plan. One afternoon, Anna went to the bank to take out a little cash for baby clothes. The teller, a friend of Diana's, looked nervous. That evening, Mark exploded. $5,000 is missing from the business account," he yelled, his face red. "The bank teller said you were the last one at that counter today." Anna was confused. "I only took $100, Mark, for the baby. Here's the receipt." She showed him the small slip of paper. But Diana, who was visiting, sighed sadly. "Oh, Anna, I saw you with a lot of cash yesterday. I didn't want to say anything. I thought maybe you were planning a surprise for Mark." It was a lie. Perfect, poisonous lie. Mark, who trusted his sister and cared more about money than truth, believed it instantly. The next week was a slow, terrible torture. Mark wouldn't speak to Anna. He moved into the guest room. He told her she had to pay back the money by selling her paintings and doing all the housework. Anna, heartbroken and scared for her baby, obeyed. She worked until her back ached, trying to keep the peace. She sold all her beloved paints. She thought if she just endured it, he would see the truth. One day a letter arrived. It was from a famous art gallery in the city. They had seen a photo of one of Anna's old paintings online and wanted to offer her a solo show. They were offering a huge amount of money, enough to pay back Mark 10 times over. Hope, bright and fierce, bloomed in Anna's chest. This was her chance. She would show Mark the letter. He would see her value. He would be sorry for how he treated her. She ran to find him, the letter clutched in her hand. He was in his office with Diana. Before Anna could speak, Diana looked at the fancy envelope and said in a sweet, sly voice, "More mail from your secret friend Anna? Is that who you gave the $5,000 to?" Mark's eyes went from the letter to Anna's hopeful face. He didn't see hope. He saw guilt. He saw betrayal. He didn't even let her explain. That brings us to tonight. The storm was brewing outside, just like the storm in their house. "Get out," Mark said, his voice quiet and dangerous. What? Anna whispered. "You heard me. You stole from me. You are cheating on me. I want you out of my house. Now." "Mark, no. The baby. Please, read this letter," she begged, holding it out. He snatched it from her hand. Without even looking, he tore it in half, then in half again. The pieces of her dream and her future fluttered to the floor like dead leaves. "I don't care," he said. "Take nothing that belongs to me. Just get out." He grabbed her arm, not gently, and pulled her to the front door. She stumbled, trying to protect her belly. He opened the door to the lashing rain and pushed her out onto the porch. Then came the slam, the click of the lock. And that is where we began. Anna, alone in the storm. But let's go back to the watcher in the black car. As the rain poured, the car's window rolled down. A hand reached out, holding a sleek phone. A finger pressed a button to make a call. Inside his warm, dry living room, Mark poured himself a large glass of expensive whiskey. He felt powerful. He had gotten rid of his problems. He looked at the torn letter on the floor and sneered. His phone rang. He saw it was an unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but his ego made him pick up. "Mark Lawson?" A calm, smooth voice asked. "Yes. Who is this?" "This is Leo Grant," the voice said. Mark's blood ran cold. Leo Grant was the most powerful and wealthy businessman in the state. Mark had been trying to get a meeting with him for years, to make a huge deal that would make him rich beyond his dreams. "Mr. Grant, this is an honor," Mark said, his voice suddenly sweet and eager. "I've been hearing about your business," Leo Grant said, "and I've been watching how you handle your affairs. It shows strength, decision-making. I like that." "Thank you, sir," Mark said, his heart soaring. This was it, his big break. "I have a proposal for you," Leo continued. "A very profitable partnership. But it must be done in secret, and it must be done now. Are you interested?" "Yes, absolutely," Mark almost shouted. "Good. There's an old warehouse at the docks. Number 17. Be there in 1 hour. Come alone. And Mark, tell no one. This chance will not come again." The call ended. Mark stared at the phone, a huge grin spreading across his face. This was karma rewarding him for being strong, for making the hard choice to throw out his dishonest wife. He grabbed his car keys, not even glancing at the door behind which his pregnant wife had disappeared into the storm. He drove through the rain, his mind full of dollar signs and dreams of power. He found the dark, creepy warehouse 17. He walked inside, his footsteps echoing. "Mr. Grant," he called out. "I'm here, ready to do business." The heavy metal door behind him slammed shut with a deafening clang. The sound was much, much familiar than his own front door lock. Lights flickered on. But it was not Leo Grant who stood in the center of the empty space. It was the watcher from the car. And they were not smiling anymore. Subscribe to this channel to support our growth. What do you think the watcher wants? What will happen to Mark? Stay tuned for the thrilling conclusion in Chapter 2. Only on this channel. The lights were bright and harsh, shining down from the high metal ceiling of Warehouse 17. Mark Lawson blinked, his eyes struggling to adjust after the dark, rainy night. The person standing before him was not the elderly, sharp-suited Leo Grant he had seen in magazine photos. This was a younger man, perhaps in his 30s, with cold, calm eyes. He wore a simple black coat. Behind him stood 2 large, silent men with arms crossed. "Who are you?" Mark demanded, trying to sound brave, but a trickle of fear dripped down his spine. "Where is Mr. Grant?" "The name is Adrian," the man said. His voice was the same smooth one from the phone, but now it had no false warmth. It was like ice. And Mr. Grant is my employer. He sent me to evaluate you, to see if you are the kind of man he wants to do business with. Mark puffed out his chest, forcing a smile. Of course I am. Tell Mr. Grant I am ready. I make hard decisions. I don't let sentiment get in the way of business. He thought of Anna in the rain and felt a flicker of pride at his own toughness. Adrian took a slow step forward. Yes, we saw your decision tonight. We watched you chase your pregnant wife into a storm. We heard every word. Mark's smile froze. They watched? How? Why? A cold feeling, colder than the rain, started to grow in his stomach. Why would you watch that? Mark asked, his voice smaller. Because, Adrian said, Leo Grant wanted to see your true character. Business is not just about money, Mr. Lawson. It is about trust. Loyalty. If you can betray the woman who loves you and your own unborn child for a lie, what would you do to a business partner? Mark's mind raced. This was a test? And he had failed? No, he could fix this. It wasn't a lie. She stole from me. My sister confirmed. Adrian held up a hand, silencing him. From his pocket, he pulled out a small digital recorder. He pressed a button. Diana's voice, clear and sharp, filled the empty warehouse. Yes, I told him Anna stole the money. He's so greedy, he'll believe anything that protects his cash. The bank teller is my friend. She just nodded when Mark asked. It was easy. It was a conversation. Diana was talking to someone, to Adrian. Mark felt the floor sway under his feet. That's edited. A fake. Adrian pressed another button. His own voice on the recorder. And why are you doing this to your sister-in-law? Diana's laugh was cruel. She's weak. She doesn't deserve him or his money. With her gone, Mark will rely on me. And when his business eventually fails, because it will with his terrible ideas, I'll be there to help him sell everything. I'll get my share, and he'll have no one else to turn to. The truth hit Mark like a physical punch. He stumbled back. His own sister, his own jealous, greedy sister had set everything up. And he, like a fool, had believed her. He had thrown out his loyal, kind wife. He had torn up her lifeline, the letter from the gallery. He had destroyed his own life with his own hands. No, he whispered. Adrian put the recorder away. Mr. Grant hates two things: dishonesty in business and cruelty to the helpless. You, Mr. Lawson, are guilty of both. You were easily tricked because you are greedy. You were cruel because it was easy. You are not a strong man. You are a weak, mean little one. The words cut deeper than any knife. Mark's dream of a deal, of wealth and respect, evaporated like mist. He was not being rewarded. He was being judged. What do you want? Mark asked, his voice trembling. First, to show you the consequences of your actions, Adrian said. He nodded to one of the large men, who picked up a tablet computer and walked toward Mark. The screen was on. A video played. It showed a warm, well-lit room like a cozy sitting room. And there, wrapped in a soft blanket, sitting in a comfortable chair with a cup of something steaming in her hands, was Anna. Mark gasped. She was safe. She was dry. But the look on her face, it was not sadness anymore. It was a calm, quiet strength. A man walked into the frame, offering her a plate of cookies. He was older, with kind eyes and an air of great power. It was the real Leo Grant. Thank you, Leo, Anna said softly, with a small, tired smile. My dear girl, it is the least I could do after all these years, the man said, patting her shoulder gently. Mark stared, his brain unable to make sense of it. How does she know Leo Grant? Adrian's lips twitched in a cold, small smile. Anna Grant. She changed her last name when she married you, to distance herself from her family's wealth. She wanted to be loved for herself, not her money. Leo Grant is her uncle, her favorite uncle. Every ounce of air left Mark's lungs. The world spun. Anna was an heiress to the Grant fortune, the fortune he had been trying to lick the boots of for years. She had given up a life of incredible luxury to live with him, to help him build his small, struggling business. And he had thrown her away. The pain that exploded in Mark's chest was worse than anything he had ever felt. It was a pain made of pure regret and shame. "This is the second thing," Adrian continued, as the man took the tablet away. "Your business, Lawson Furniture. As of 8 p.m. tonight, it has been purchased. All your debts called in. Your assets seized. The company no longer belongs to you." "What? You can't do that," Mark yelled, panic rising. "We already did. Mr. Grant's lawyers are very good. You are now not only wifeless, but also jobless. And soon houseless. The mortgage was under the business. You will be evicted by the end of the week." Mark felt like he was drowning. In one night, he had lost everything. And it was all his fault. "And my sister?" Mark asked, hate for Diana now boiling inside him. "Diana will be dealt with by the police for fraud and conspiracy," Adrian said calmly. "The bank teller has already confessed. Diana's plan to manipulate you and steal from you will be fully exposed. She will have nothing, too." Karma was not a single event. It was a snowball, rolling down a hill, crushing everything in its path. Mark's cruelty was the first push. Now the avalanche was here. Adrian walked up to Mark until they were face to face. "You wanted a deal with Leo Grant? Here it is. He will not ruin you completely. That is his mercy, for Anna's sake. She would not want you dead in a ditch even after what you did. But you will start from zero, with nothing, just like you left her." He turned and began to walk away, his men following. "Wait!" Mark cried out, desperation clawing at his throat. "Anna, where is she? Can I talk to her? Can I say I'm sorry?" Adrian paused but did not look back. "Your sorry is worth less than the dirt on her shoe. She is safe. She is cared for. She will have her baby in a beautiful home, surrounded by a family that loves her. A family you never wanted to be part of. You will never see her again. You will never see your child. That is your punishment, to live with that knowledge. Every single day." The metal door creaked open, and the three men disappeared into the night. The door slammed shut again, leaving Mark alone in the huge, bright, empty warehouse. The silence was the loudest thing he had ever heard. It was filled with the echoes of his own horrible words, his sister's cruel laugh, and the sound of his own front door locking against the mother of his child. He fell to his knees on the cold concrete. He had chased his pregnant wife out into a storm, thinking he was winning. But karma had been waiting for him in the shadows, and it had taken everything he ever had, and everything he ever could have had. Weeks later, in a sun-filled studio overlooking a beautiful garden, Anna Lawson sat, her hand resting on her now 8-month pregnant belly. She was painting again. The colors were vibrant, full of hope and light. Her uncle Leo walked in, smiling. "The papers are final, my dear. The divorce. He signed everything. He has no claim to you or the baby." Anna put down her brush. "And Mark? What is he doing?" "He works at a loading dock. He rents a small, unpleasant room. He is a ghost of who he was. He tries to contact me every week, begging for a chance to apologize to you." Anna looked out at the garden. She felt no hate. Hate was a heavy thing, and she had let it go. She felt a quiet sadness for the man she once loved, and a powerful love for the child growing inside her. "Will you see him?" Leo asked gently. Anna thought for a long moment. She thought of the rain, the locked door, the torn letter. Then she thought of the future of her art, of her baby. She picked up her brush and dipped it in a color called New Beginning. "No," she said softly but firmly. "My story with him is over. But his story with karma, that is just beginning. And he has to live it alone." She turned to her uncle, a true, peaceful smile on her face. "Now, should we plan the nursery? I'm thinking yellow." The sun streamed in, warming the room, as Anna Lawson, surrounded by love and safety, began her new life. She had walked through the storm and found a beautiful sunrise on the other side. As for Mark, he was just beginning his long, cold walk in the rain. The end. Thank you for following the story of karma and consequences. Did Anna make the right choice? What would you have done? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe to this channel for more gripping stories about life, choices, and justice. Your support helps our channel grow.